What's your needle in a haystack? I love that expression, and it's a bit of a funny story, personal moment for me. Or the princess and the pea. Both of these metaphor allegories, one's a story, one's a metaphor. Needle in a haystack, this tiny little needle, like a needle that you might put a thread through to fix a piece of clothing in a haystack. How the heck are you going to find that? Or the princess and the pea. This princess sleeps on 10 or 20 mattresses piled on top of each other, but still has a terrible sleep because there's a hard pea at the very bottom of one of the mattresses that is creating an indentation all the way up. And she's so sensitive, she's able to discern that there is this discomfort. What a heterosexist story. But anyway, that's another story. But if you're dealing with a princess and the pea moment, trying to find that tiny little thing that's disturbing, disrupting you, or there's something you need to find to solve a problem, the needle in the haystack. That's affecting how you feel. That's affecting your well-being. Whether that be a leadership challenge, solving a strategic challenge, it's still going to affect how you feel because it's doing something to your mind. Your mind is preoccupied. It's taken out of the moment trying to find that needle in the elusive, metaphorical haystack, right? And what does it mean to feel well? Well, I've said before, if you don't feel well, you can't lead well. And feel is an acronym for freedom, energy, emotions, and love. That may sound a little cliched, especially love, but if you can be your best self, you can care for yourself, you can care for others, you can accept others. Call that an expression of love. Being open and available to interacting with other human beings and caring for them as you would hopefully care for yourself. So, this funny story moment. Over the weekend, I was doing my weekly review. I'm part of a coaching program to help me move forward more effectively, more efficiently in what it is I want to create in my coaching business. And I realized I certainly wasn't following some of the commitments I made at the original program, or rather, I was slacking off on some of the commitments, which is really the same thing as saying I wasn't following through on some of my commitments, if we're going to be honest, right? My commitments needed refinement. Does it mean that they were bad commitments? Does it mean that I'm a bad person? No. Circumstances in life are constantly changing. We're always evolving. We're not just changing, we're evolving, we're transforming. We overcome certain hurdles, we accomplish certain goals, we make certain realizations, and then the circumstances of our life changes. Maybe our schedule at work changes. Maybe our partner's schedule changes, which is actually something my dog wants out the door. Here you go. Which is something that actually happened in my life. This circumstance of my partner changing jobs meant there was a change to what I could do in my morning routine. And that was part of the needle in the haystack. People talk about morning routines, and I think they're actually exceptionally important to setting up your day and how you want to feel your well being for what it is you hope to accomplish with the greatest ease and enjoyment and enthusiasm and sense of freedom and accomplishment and hopefully love, right? Throughout the course of your day. But where morning routines get really fucked up is these people who are, oh, you got to get up at 4 a.m. and you have to do this, and you've got to like splash your face with this tonic, and you've got to take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and you must absolutely go outside and have a run so that you get fresh air, and you've got to follow my template because if you don't, you suck. And you're never going to accomplish anything great in your life. Nonsense. It is so important in the work that I do with any of my clients for myself that you find what it is that makes you feel well. It doesn't matter. Little funny joke. Funny joke. My partner loves laughing at funny things on Instagram. He went off Instagram for a little while, and this is really funny. We were both wanted to get off Instagram because of stuff that was happening. But I missed his uproarious laughter. He'd be sitting on the couch, scrolling through, watching something funny, or watching people getting scared, or watching cute dog videos, and he would burst out laughing. And that energy is infectious. It elevates my enthusiasm. And I almost pleaded with him for weeks, and he finally came back on Instagram, and I feel like things have come not back to normal, but we have returned to that feeling. So that wasn't quite a needle in the haystack moment. I knew exactly what it is that was missing, and I knew what it would take to bring it back. It was the best solution for him to go to Instagram. Anyway, the funny story for me is that I've had a morning routine. It wasn't as refined as it could be, so I looked at readjusting it. And there's this aspect of when something isn't quite working, you just got to try something, and you've got to give it a few days, you've got to give it a week or a couple of weeks and see what happens. And if it's a sequence of things, my morning routine is a sequence of things, and if I look at my calendar, it's getting up, journaling, having my breakfast, reading, and then going for a workout or alternating walking my dog and then starting my work day. All right. It doesn't seem like much, but I've now done this 2 days in a row, this slight refinement. I was not working out at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was sometimes working out if I didn't get distracted or didn't get too absorbed by doing work for either myself or work for which I'm paid. Well, that's good on the one hand because you can get into creativity and stay in the flow, but that means you have to compromise something. You have to surrender something. But there's always been this little tension, this needle in the haystack for me that was making it difficult for my morning routine to work. And I had tried adjustments here and there over the last several months. This is the funny thing is sometimes you have to create a new plan and just go with it and see what happens and make a reassessment. So I have written out commitments for what it is I'm going to be doing over the next 40 plus day. I refined my commitments for the rest of August and into September, recognizing that things may change come October the 1st. So the first commitment, I commit to working out at 7 a.m. on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday because I want to feel better, stronger, more energized, and look better. Well, it worked out that my partner and I made an adjustment to what day I would walk Scooby in the morning. So now I'll work out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That's not a problem, right? I haven't really changed anything other than the day. I haven't changed the time. But when I was setting up my calendar, for some reason I put in my workout at 6 a.m. So on Monday, I'm looking at this like, I'm still waking up. I've just had my coffee. I have to go to the bathroom yet before I can put on my workout clothes. I feel kind of stiff. I haven't moved around enough. I haven't, like, my brain isn't fully turned on to feel safe and comfortable moving weights around. And that's why I'm dressed like this, because I've literally come back from the gym and had this little bit of an epiphany and wanted to record this video for you. So the needle in the haystack was breakfast, because I've always been someone that has needed to eat pretty soon upon waking up. 20, 30 years ago, my God, I would get up, I would go pee, and I would put on the frying pan to cook my eggs. I could not wait to eat. I was so damn hungry. But I was in my 30s and 40s. I was working out very hard. I was active. I was working full time as a personal trainer. So I was always moving around, lifting weights, demonstrating exercises. I had a high caloric burn. So waking up from an 8 hour sleep, it was called break fast, break the fast. I was bloody hungry. I'm almost 60. Things slow down. I'm not doing personal training as much. My exercise amount in my day and week has dropped substantially because of that in part. But I still like to eat a very big breakfast. I usually have oatmeal with fruit, sometimes nuts, and I usually have 2 to 3 eggs with vegetables. And if I don't have that, I usually feel hungry by 9:30 or 10 o'clock. But if I do that, one, it takes time to make all of that. It's going to take 15 minutes from start to finish to like turn on the pan, heat it up, put on the frozen vegetables, cook the eggs, sit down, and then eat. So half an hour, 35, 40 minutes, right? And then I need to digest. And because I'm taking in more protein, all those things slow me down. And that's why I was trying to do my workout later in the day, start work that I'm paid for, then take a little bit of a break, go have a workout, come back, do work that I'm paid for, then have lunch, trying to find the balance that works for me. But it didn't work for me. So I thought, and I didn't even plan this, but because I had set up the new routine, because I was just going to give it a go and see what happens, and my original intention was to eat breakfast after my workout, I was hesitant, but I said, try it, try it, try it, try it for a couple of days. If you are starving and you can't do it, you'll know you need to change it. But if you don't do it, if you don't try it, you're not going to know. That's how I think in my head. So Monday morning, I'm having my coffee. I'm thinking 6 o'clock. Why did I set the alarm for my workout at 6 o'clock, as I've already said? It's too early. I'm actually feeling a little peckish, a little hungry. Why don't I just have a small amount of oatmeal, less than I normally eat, with a little bit of yogurt and some blueberries and a banana? Fine. Do that, and I'll read for half an hour. And then I'll have my workout at 7 a.m. Amazing. Perfect. Easy to digest. Oatmeal, yogurt, some fruit for some energy. Not heavy like protein, no oils. Well, the yogurt has oil. The yogurt is a fat, but it's just my body finds it very easy to digest. Had my workout, had energy, had clarity, loved it, did the same thing today. With the yogurt, I can eat that while I'm reading, which is one of my morning routine items to read, to consistently read for half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on what I get accomplished in my morning routine. And I feel fantastic. And I had to laugh at myself because I did not solve this problem of what to do about breakfast beforehand. It happened because I just decided to give a new routine a go to see what would happen. And in doing the action, and this is really the lesson, in doing the action of this new morning routine and committing to trying it and committing to recognizing that I may have to refine it along the way to smooth it out, I found that needle in the haystack. And because that haystack is so large, when you think of that picture and how small that needle is comparison, that's why I didn't see it, because I didn't disrupt my previous schedule to attempt to try something new, not knowing what the results or consequences of that would be. And I say consequences in the sense of like a good outcome, because there's going to be consequences. You're going to do this, something's going to happen. So extrapolate this for all other areas of your life. Where are your roadblocks? Where is that situation where you're the prince or the princess sleeping on all of these mattresses, yet there's still something jabbing in your back, even though you're on the best, highest quality mattresses and 10 of them, and you can still feel something's nagging at you? That's really more of this needle in the haystack thing. What is affecting how you feel? What is affecting your freedom? What is affecting your energy? What is affecting your desired emotional state? So instead you're feeling angry and frustrated and overwhelmed and sad and annoyed or whatever. What is it affecting your capacity to feel accepting and caring or make connection, love for others? It may be that you're taking the absolutely wrong approach. It may be that you're trying to laser in and find that thing instead of perhaps disrupting your routine, flipping it upside down, trying a new sequence of things in your work, in your morning routine, in your workout, in when you start something or finishing, or even in your physical environment where you maybe sit down to think, all of these things can change. But it isn't until you make the change that you have the possibility to transform. Because when you get that feeling of, oh, yeah, this feels better, and all that accompanies that feeling better, there's a cascade effect. There's an outflow of how the ripples, throwing that rock into the pond, and you see the ripples of how the ripples go out and start to affect the other aspects of your life, your work, your business, your relationships, your desires, and your dreams. So if this idea speaks to you, think about, sense what it is that's really bothering you, that's triggering you. What is that needle in the haystack? You may have an overall sort of picture. It's like, I think it's something to do with my morning routine. I think it's something to do with an environment. Maybe I'm uncomfortable working in this particular space or place or with these people, or whenever this happens, or whenever I go here, my emotional state becomes compromised. Whenever this happens, when I read this, when I look at this, when I do this, hint, social media or reading too much news, I feel like my freedom is being oppressed, suppressed, and I feel tight and angry and annoyed inside. Your emotional state. Look at the bigger picture of what's bothering you, what's that pain in your backside, and start to see if you can look at that environment. And I'm just drawing a circle with my fingers here. What can you change about it? What can you eliminate? What can you modify? One thing, though, only one thing, because there could be more than one area that's bothering you. But when we're talking about making a change at this level, we're changing a set of or a singular habit. It takes time to adopt a habit for the brain, the nervous system, the basal ganglia part of the brain that adopts the software, for lack of a better word, the new programming that says, what I'm doing now makes me feel better. What I'm doing now makes me feel good. Okay, if I keep doing this and I keep feeling good, I keep feeling safe, I keep feeling secure, I keep feeling happy, I'm going to make this my new default pattern, my new default routine, my new set of habits. And then you don't have to worry about trying to eliminate bad habits or things you don't like. Instead, you subconsciously, automatically adopt the new patterns that make you feel better, that make you feel well. And in the category of, if you don't feel well, you don't lead well. We have to take care of ourselves first before we can care for others. Leading is about caring for others, demonstrating how well you are not just managing yourself, but how to move forward in life or in business or in whatever it is people are looking up to you in your leadership in a way that makes them feel comfortable, safe, secure, and engaged with what it is you are seeking to accomplish. So I know this has been a bit of a long ramble, but I hope this has been helpful. And let me know, what's your needle in a haystack?